Well, greetings. I'm Sharon Dingus, and I'm going to try a new format for my YouTube channel. And what you'll notice is behind me, I've got this fun tapestry backdrop, right? I like putting these up around my home just to have different moods and different locations. And this one just so fits the heart of who I am, right? It's in a tree. If you looked at the rest of it, you'd see it's the base of a tree, and I've got a library and the warm lights and just that cozy hobbit-like feeling to it. Very deep forest. I'm a very foresty girl, even though I live in the desert. There's something absolutely spectacular about the forest. And what I thought I would do, because I do a lot of research, I do a lot of writing, a lot on a lot of technical matters, or scientific, or engineering, or simply R&D. I thought it would be fun to have a different backdrop show on my YouTube or other video channels, right? It doesn't need to be YouTube. That just seems to be one of the easiest today. But I thought, what would happen if I set up my den? So on this wall where I have the tapestry, I have a setup so that I can actually just sit down for a few minutes when the urge hits me and just film something. So I don't need to show you what my little setup is because it matters not, right? But I thought I'd say if you see this backdrop, it's a different type of topic. So if you're not interested, just scroll right past, right? Just flip it in your stream. But if this does resonate with you, I welcome you on this journey. And frankly, I call it a voyage, as in Voyage to Excellence. That is a channel, a podcast name that I came up with, oh gosh, back in 2018, I think it was when that first dawned on me, is looking at how do I live my life? What are some of the basic tenets of my life? One is honor, deep, deep honor in everything that I do, as well as integrity. If I'm not navigating with honesty and integrity, with truth and transparency, that's not my authentic self. And what I believe this is going to end up being is a resurrection, if you will, an upgrade, because we go through life spiral, right? It goes in a circular fashion. However, it's not a flat circle. It's every time we come back around, we're elevating, we're elevating, we're elevating. And that is my goal in this lifetime, is to continuously upgrade and improve and refine who I am, to release the energetic imprints, the programming, some might call it, but I'll say the imprints from others, from situations, from the way that I've even treated my own self in the past. And so now that I've done this, I feel that this is a resurrection of something that I called my rays of light, ray of light. And that was something that began in, I believe it was the end of 2017. I began recording rays of light, and that might be something that I'll make public again. But right now they're private videos. They were very public at one point in time. I pulled them back. However, it's time to bring them back. And that is where I go into sharing my experiences, my thoughts, my feelings, my stubbing of my toe, some of my victories, right? My passions as I go along the way. So this video, my YouTube channel, has gone through a few names along the way. And what I figured the overarching name truly is Voyage to Excellence, because in this lifetime, as with other lifetimes, and yes, I believe in reincarnation and then some. And as we go through the lifetime, I am one who cannot accept mediocrity, especially myself. I'm challenged observing others, but that's them, right? That's a different facet. That's none of my business, as long as it doesn't directly affect me, the mediocrity. And I will not accept mediocrity in my own life. I am one that if I have a conversation, if even fleeting thoughts that might stick around for a little bit, is why am I thinking that? Why is that flowing through right now? Am I attaching something to that, or shall I just let that flow through? Or when I do have a conversation with someone or an interaction, it is very natural for me to just pause after that interaction and just reflect momentarily, not to perseverate on something, but to just observe myself while I'm in that interaction and see, was there anything more to be learned from that, right? It could be just a passing comment. It could be I lost my cool a little bit at the traffic light when I had some wingnut pull in front of me, right? And is that how I want to behave? And some days it's like, yeah, I just need to let that out a little bit. No harm, no foul. But the other part of it is the continuous quest for that refinement, the hollow bone polishing. And so that I'm rambling a little bit today, only because this is very off the cuff, but allowing that whatever message this is meant to be to flow through me of this is the return, the elevated return of my ray of light streams of consciousness in some regards. And to let you know that if you do see this backdrop, one, it's kind of fun, isn't it? But two is if you're expecting this to be a technical topic or to be a research topic, typically not when you have this backdrop. Again, wanting to make it very simple for you to see what it is. But what I want to be able to share is I have gone deep. I took time out of my life after a very significant personal event. Fortunately, it was not me directly involved, but I was the person supporting the person. And that was early 2017, and that shook me to my very roots. One, the loss of this person, but the other part of it was I was not so many years behind this person in age, and I looked at myself and needed to see that I'm not liking my trajectory, even though I was much healthier than most people I knew. I had a good career, I felt at the time, and I had a lot of good things going on in my life. But there was that hollowness, there was this emptiness, there was this aching and longing that there was more to be had in this lifetime. So I took what I believe in this world is a fairly unusual thing to do. I quit my career. I didn't know where I was going next. And I allowed life to take me. I allowed myself, I thought at the time, being in the flow. I've learned since then, it's been about 9 years now, that boy, did I have a lot to learn. But I had all that imprinting that, again, had been put on me that I had then willingly continued to imprint upon myself, that programming, the not self. So Carl Jung, we know about Freud, we know about Jung. Jung is the one with whom I most deeply resonate. When he talks about looking into your shadow self, right? There's who we know. But then there's that part of us that scares the heck out of us, frankly, if you even know it's there. But sometimes when there is a behavior of someone else that really grates on your nerves, sometimes that's because that's something you do that maybe you don't publicly admit or even know that you do this or have that tendency. But it's something oftentimes about yourself that you're not necessarily thrilled about. So it's very easy to point to someone else who's doing a behavior that you'd rather keep under covers, right? You want to not acknowledge that shadow self. So through all of this, and I think what I'll end up doing is share some stories, share some insights along the way, because we're all here together and to learn with one another. And those of you who knew me back in 2016, 2017, right before I really made this massive shift. I had a lot of things going on. I was reaching that or what do they call it, premenopause, perimenopause, whatever, right? You get to, you're a female, you're a certain age and stage, and this is what you go through. But I had this great amount of my life is not, I'm missing something. I'm missing something in my life. I didn't know what it was. I had not realized how far from myself I had actually drifted over the years. I no longer recognize the woman I was, and I'll say the person I was, because frankly, I was quite androgynous at that time. And if you look at photos of me, and they're on the internet, whatever, that was a part of who I was. I've dropped 90 pounds since that time, and frankly, it's been really effortless. I cut a number of things, including people, out of my life. I removed their access to me during this time because I needed to be healthy. And it became quite clear that they were not healthy for me. And would not be willing to look at how can we make our relationship more healthy. So sometimes, regardless of who this person is or these people are, unhealthy is unhealthy, period, versus the societal norms of, well, their family, their blood, they're someone you've known since childhood, their coworkers, or whatever that is, they must always be in your life. No, they mustn't. And so that's been part of my getting healthy, is realizing I get to choose. I get to choose my family. Friends, the term friend gets thrown around so much. You've got your Facebook friends. Are they really friends? Are they people who would stop what they are doing to help you, or to pick up the phone and have a phone conversation with you and just hold space? Whatever you're going through, they're not in there to fix it for you. They're there to stand by your side while you go through things. And yes, if it's appropriate, that's another thing. But we throw around the term friend so lightly. And thank you so much, Facebook, for doing that. They're not friends, most of them. Have you ever even met them in person? And if you think someone is your friend, there's a different connotation than they're an acquaintance, they're a work associate, they're a whatever it happens to be. The external, right? External. Gee, they liked my post. Ooh, I got another friend. Ooh, they've commented nicely. Or, oh, wow, that was mean. That was rude to say on my post. So why are you fixated on external inputs, both the highs and the lows? How about that connection that you have to your higher self, your divine connection, however you see that being? There is a higher source, if you will, whether you say it's above, it's around, it's whatever. That's part of your belief system. But there is something beyond us. There is the divine with which we can connect directly. We have our own connection to that, regardless of what people tell you. And so part of this voyage to excellence, meanderings, wanderings that I will be doing periodically. I haven't decided what the cadence is, but today was also a day of, okay, Sharon, you going to jump in or are you going to think about it? Well, today was the jumping in, the jumping off point. So welcome to the renewed version of Voyage to Excellence.